Imagine this situation. You are an ordinary person, even if a little crazy, who happens to have invented a time machine. Yes, yes, the very thing that allows you to travel between the past and the future. Your first thought? That's right. I should go back in time and meet my young grandfather. But what if your grandfather is, well, let's just say he wasn't the nicest guy? Imagine he was a real bore who always said, in my day, phones were big and music was real. So you're thinking, what if I just, take him out of the game? The world would be a better place, wouldn't it? And so our story begins. Step 1. You've traveled back in time. You activate your time machine and immediately find yourself in a small town somewhere in the 1930s. Your grandfather is a young guy, only 20 years old. He's standing on a street corner, drinking Coke from a bottle and dreaming of being the king of radio. You sneak up behind him, pull out your laser pistol, because why not, and bang, bang, bang. That's it. End of story. Your grandfather no longer exists. Step 2. What's next? You return to your own time, full of enthusiasm. But as the time machine speeds back, you notice one strange thing. You disappeared. How is that possible? Because if you killed your father will never be born. And if your father didn't exist, then you shouldn't exist either. So then who did this time travel? Sounds like a bad script for a Nicolas Cage movie, but it's called the grandfather paradox. What do smart people say? Physicists, philosophers, and other people with glasses have been puzzling over this question for a long time. Stephen Hawking once said, if time travel is possible, where are all these tourists from the future? Yes, good point, Stephen. But let's get back to our main question. What happened to you? Step 3. Possible scenarios. Now imagine 3 possible scenarios. 1. Scenario number 1. You can't change the past. Maybe you tried to kill your grandfather, but something got in the way each time. For example, the gun might have jammed, or Grandpa suddenly decided to move to another city. It's as if time is protecting itself from your actions. It's called self-correcting time. The French philosopher Bertrand Russell once observed, the past is no less real than the present. This probably means that you can try all you want to change the past, but it will still remain as it was. Scenario number 2, a multiverse for all occasions. What if every time you change the past, you create a new universe? In one reality, you kill your grandfather, and your version of yourself no longer exists. But in the other universe, you're still here because Grandpa's alive and well. Quantum mechanics theorist Hugh Everett proposed the idea of a multiverse, where every decision creates a new reality. So maybe you've just traveled to a parallel universe where you don't exist at all. It's like you've become your own ghost. Scenario number 3, time will sort itself out. What if time is such a big, complex mechanism that automatically corrects any mistakes? For example, you shoot your grandfather, but he miraculously survives. Or he meets another woman who becomes your grandmother. The writer Bradbury wrote a story called A Sound of Thunder, where the hero accidentally ran over a butterfly in the past, and it completely changed the future. So maybe your actions in the past can have completely unpredictable consequences. Step 4, the humorous twist. And this is where the fun part begins. Imagine that instead of killing your grandfather, you accidentally saved his life. For example, you saw him being attacked by an angry cat and decided to help. Now your grandfather becomes the town hero, marries your grandmother ahead of schedule, and you are born much earlier than you planned. Now you're older than your grandfather. How does it feel to call your grandfather younger? Step 5, conclusion. So, what have we learned? The grandfather paradox is not just a fun science fiction idea. It is a serious question that makes us think about the nature of time and causality. As the great philosopher and author of many memes, Douglas Adams said, time is an illusion. The lunch hour is especially so. So before you make plans for time travel, think twice. Because if you decide to take out your grandfather, you run the risk of being without yourself. And that, you'll agree, is not a good idea for a Friday night. Moral of the story. The grandfather paradox isn't just about physics and logic. It's about how our actions can have unpredictable consequences. So dear friends, if you ever find yourself in the past, just buy Apple stock and leave your ancestors alone. Your future wallet will thank you.